Om Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Dashmodhyayah Arjuna Uvacha Vistarenatmano Yogam Vibhutim cha Janardana Bhuyah Kathaya Triptirhi Shanavato Nasti Memratam Shri Bhagavanuvacha Hantate Kathayishyami Divyayatma Pradhanyat Kuru Shrestha Nastyyanto Vistarasya Me Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarvabhutashayasthitah Aham Adishya Madhyam Cha Bhutanamanta Eva Cha Adityanamaham Vishnu Jyotisham Ravi Anshuman Marichirmarutasmasmi Nakshatranamaham Shashihi Vedanam Samavedosmi Devanamasmi Vasavaha Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanamasmi Chetana. All right. So the last one we did was the Arjuna is asking Bhagwan, how do I remember you? How do I come to know the real you? Why don't you tell me everything about you so that I can understand, I can meditate on you, I can, because the more you are odd, you want to know more and more about that person who you love or who you worship. You want to know all the things about that. So last we did was Katham Vidyam Aham Yogin. So tell me about your yoga, so all that he had asked, Keshu Keshu cha bhaveshu, in what bhava should I meditate on you? Those things we discussed last time. Here he says, but don't tell me in brief, Vistarena Atmano Yogam Vibhutim cha Janardana. Though don't tell me in just short, tell me Vistarena, in total details, your Atmano Yogam Vibhutim cha, O Janardhan, tell me all that. Bhuya Kathaya Triptiri. Why do I want to know? Because I am not satisfied. I'm not satiated by just listening. I want more and more. It's like, tell me more. Give me all the details, especially when you are in your small group and somebody is talking about some other person, gossip. Can tell me, or batao, or batao. So, but in this case, he is really, what do you say, that he is so devoted to Bhagwan. He's so much in love with Bhagwan that he's really uh, so eager to learn more about Bhagwan. So he says, Oh Janardhan, Vistarena. Janardhan is uh, Janardhan has multiple meanings. So one meaning of Janardhan is that the one who takes the janas, jana means people, to their destination based on their karmas. That's Janardhan. So that's one way to look at that. And the wise people who love and beg Bhagwan, or worship Bhagwan for the guidance, so welfare, moksha. But when they do that, what Bhagwan does is Jana. Jana is also Maya. The Maya is Sansar. So that which does the Mardanam of that, the one who destroy the Maya for the people who are worshipping Bhagwan with love and devotion, So that's another meaning of Janardhan. So he says, Vistarena. Tell me in details here, Bhagavan. All your vibhutis and yoga, the we talked about yoga and Vibhuti, right? The yoga is the power that Bhagwan has. Vibhuti is the expansion of that power. How the the power manifest in this world, how it, different forms, different creations that have happened because of Bhagwan. That's Bhagwan's Vibhuti. Bhuyah katha. Again, tell me, you have told me before, I know that you will tell me that I told you in seventh chapter, then I told you in ninth chapter, but I want to know in detail now, that's what, because tripti nasti, I'm not satisfied. I'm not, it's like, how the kids also say, they'll say, tell me a story. Okay, which one? That one. They have a specific idea which story they want to hear, and they want to hear it over and over. Same thing with when we like a movie, people want to watch it again and again, so so that's the, why is that? Because that's, your words are like nectar, कहता है shranavato nasti me amrita. That means they are the nectar that I want to drink. That's what I want. That's why it is so fascinating for me. So because it is Amrit Vachan that you are telling. He had said that, I'm going to, Shrunu me, you listen to my words, oh Janardhan. So now Bhagwan says, okay, let me explain my so Shri Bhagavanu Acha. So Bhagavan is telling here, Hantate kathayishyami. Hantate. Hanta means, okay, dear, what you have asked, I'll tell you. Hantate kathayishyami. So I'll tell you, Divya Hyatma Vibhutayah, that my divine uh, glories, Vibhutis, that that you want to know, that you are interested in. Pradhanyat Kurushreshtaha. But I'll tell you the important ones, Pradhanayat, which is, the main ones, the ones that will actually have a meaning for you. So those I will tell you. Nasyanto vistarasya me. Because there is no end to those things, I can't keep going on. There is a war we have to fight to. So I can tell you what are the main ones, Hantate. Hanta is also like alas, that's the expression used, or it's used for okay, that's what you want. I'll tell you. Uh, because some of it is because it is beyond worldly. So the only way I can tell, see, that is why there is so much emphasis on Shravanam. Shravanam is listening. There are certain things that you cannot see. And sometimes seeing is also not very clear, because if it is too far, you can't see it clearly. Or if there is, like, you see a fan, right? The fan has maybe three, what do you call it? The arms or wings or whatever. And when it is rotating, you can't see the wings. You only see circle, right? So, but when you listen to something, then you can actually, it takes you to that. It takes you to that imagination which is not possible through any other means of knowing, which means by seeing, by smelling, by tasting, by touching. So none of those are available. Even the most complicated concepts have to be told, through words, whether it is words in a written form or listening, it's the same thing, so that is why the words are important, Shravanam is very, very important. Oh, Kurusheshra, Shrestha. Kurushreshtha is the great among the Kurus. So um, that's how Bhagwan is calling him. Earlier, he had not called him Kuru. Maybe he called him a couple of times, but Kurukshet Shrestha. Shrestha means the most the best among, you know. So, oh Shrestha among Kurus. So you are the great one because you have this love for me, or because you have the interest beyond the worldly things, you know. So, and why I can't tell you everything? Because you asked me Vistarena. So I cannot tell you because um, Nasyanto Vistarasyat. There is no end to my expansion. There is no end to the glories, you know. So I cannot. Bhagwan is not telling to talk big about himself. Bhagwan is telling because that's the truth, you know, that's how it is. So, because when you go to some country, you know, you cannot see everything. So you see pradhanayat, you know, jo bhi important cheezein, that's what you want to see. Come to America, people want to say, okay, I went to, you know, though depending on their interest, they want to see the main cities, you know, New York and California and maybe Chicago. That's the last on their list, but or the you know Niagara Falls or some other things. You know, same thing when people come to Chicago, they want to see the lake. They want to see, you know, Navy Pier, couple of other, you know, the architecture and all those things, or the Chicago at night. But that's the main thing. But if you ask them, oh, where does the Polish community live, or where is the Indian street, you know, or those kind of things, then you can only do so much, you know. So that's why, you know, we used to take people. We had a set things, you know, when people come from India, take them to this, you know, 5 6 places. And at that time it was included Bahai temple also. Somehow we were fascinated with it. And nowadays when people come, we take them to our Indian temple tour. There are so many beautiful temples now, so I think that's become our thing now. So, so he says the reason I'll tell you the important one is because those will give you the idea about rest of it, you know. So that is why Bhagavan says, okay, let me start on that. So he says, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Shayasthitah. That this is the, you know, this is the first line itself is the Mahavakya. See, we have many Mahavakyas. This is one of the Mahavakyas. What is the Mahavakya? Aham Atma. I am that Atma, O Gudakesha, that's for Arjuna, Sarva Bhuta Shayasthitah, which is in every being. You know, Sarva Bhuta. Actually, Bhuta is everything, you know. So that which is residing in everything, Shayasthitaha, where it is residing in the Antakaran of everybody. That I am that Atma which is residing. I am that I which is in everybody. Anybody who says I actually is talking about Bhagavan only. Because that is who Bhagavan is saying that I reside. This is where I reside, you know. Aham Atma. I am that Atma, O Gudakesha. So, and Aham Adishcha Madhyam Cha. I am the beginning, I am the middle, and I am the Bhutanam Anta Evacha. So, this is about the life of any being. The beginning, Bhagavan, middle, Bhagavan, end, Bhagavan. And where is Bhagavan residing? In the Antakaran. You know, in that the most inner, the sanctum sanctorum is I, right? See, where are you? Yeah, I am here. I am right here. You know, it's like you don't need any other uh, means of knowing that. I is known because it is always there, you know. So that Bhagavan says, that is me, you know. E Gudakesha. Gudakesha means the one who has victory over his sleep. Gudaka is the sleep, the Isha of that. That means he is the god of sleep. That doesn't mean he sleeps all the time. That means he has victory over sleep. He has won over sleep, you know, which means he is ever alert. He is very vigilant. And Arjita Nidraha, that who has, uh, that means who can sleep at will. Doesn't mean he doesn't sleep. He can sleep at will and wake up at will. So the other meaning that some people have said is the one who has very ghana kesha. Kesha means the hair, who has very, what should I call it? Ghana means dense, you know. So dense kesha. So, oh, best among Kurus. So I am that self. I am that I. Self means I, right? I am that I, and I'm seated in the innermost chamber, which is in the heart of everybody. So this is not like that I am there for some time. No, I am there from the beginning when this body was there or not there. So from the beginning that I exist, and then I exist in the middle when I am in a particular manifestation, and at the end of it I alone remains. So I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings and things. So origin, the existence in any manifestation, and the at the end I merge back into myself. So when we see something beautiful, when we see anything which is, whether it's a beautiful flower or the wonderful animals that we see, deers or even squirrels, or if you go to some safari, then you see the giraffes and zebras, and these are all beautiful things to see, the wonders. So remember that these are all Bhagwan's manifestation, in one form or the other. When we see a flower, so it has, if we think about it, it has come from the soil. There was a seed, and the soil, it germinates, and then it becomes a flower, and then it dies. So when it is beautiful in the middle, it is Bhagwan. It reminds us of Bhagwan. But remember that the soil itself is Bhagwan that allowed it to grow. It gave the life to it. The life in anything is Bhagwan only. So that is what it is. If you remember, we did Drik Drishya Vivek. In that we talked about the five things that anything that we can see or talk about has five qualities. We call it Nama Rupa Asti Bhati Priya. Anybody remembers that? From our time? Yes, good. Somebody pays attention. So, Nama Rupa is the way we see a thing. How we perceive something is by the name and by Rupa. Rupa means the qualities. Rupa doesn't mean just the outer, the picture of it, but also it means all the different qualities of that. So these are things that are available to us. But then below that is Bhagwan, which is actually the cause for everything. So that is defined as Asti Bhati Priya, which is also the same thing as Sat Chit Ananda. You know, the Asti means the isness. Whatever we know, there it is, like the existence is there. So it is available for us to see, or experience. So that's asti. Bhati means that it can be known or it is knowable. because the experience of knowing is possible, for that. So the knowing is happening at that level. So we think it is intellect level, but it is deeper than that. So whatever that thing is, uske andar these qualities are there. The asti is there, the bhati means the knowing quality is there, and the priya. When priya is the ananda surupa. Now question is that it is built into that. When suppose you like something, let's take an example of a chocolate. So in that chocolate you have a name and you have a form. So that is the worldly aspect of the chocolate. But in that you have asti, the existence. That chocolate exists. At least we are seeing it, means it is there. And then I know about it. Bhati, that means I have knowledge of that. The the one because of which I have the ability to know. That's the bhati. And priya is because I have, that is the state where you have experienced that joy, whether it is, tasting of it or getting that, so whatever the way we want to experience it, at that time there is zero desire left. When you have it, that means there is no more desire for it because it is already there. That state is where you are one with yourself because there is no more agitation left. The mind is not, oscillating. So that state is called priya. So it's the same thing at asti bhati priya. Bhagavan is saying that aham atma gudakesha sarva bhuta shayasthita. That means this asti bhati priya is Bhagavan. That is in every being. So with the nama rupa, we know it, we know it as something. So this is at a very high level. Bhagavan is giving his vibhuti, because sometimes uh, it is hard to imagine Bhagavan in everything. So Bhagavan is telling, okay, just know that the most innermost thing is me. So otherwise, all we see is a change. Nam Roop is constantly changing, you know. So, so I remember examples from those old times. So like we have a chair, right? But chair was never in this form. We know it chair today because of the wood, which was the predecessor to the chair. The wood was cut to become a chair. But before that wood, it was a part of a tree. So tree was there. So tree became a wood that became chair. And then ultimately chair will get decimated or whatever, broken up into something else. But the existence was never changed. The Nama Rupa constantly change, but the existence principle is always there. So seeing Bhagwan in that form, in that existence principle is what we are talking about. Whether we take a small thing like a drop of water or we take ocean, in both that existence is there, you know. So some vibhutis are only which are in the Vedas, we can't know it otherwise, or it is known through some historical event, or it is told to us that we have to comprehend, So there are many ways the vibhutis have to be told. So here, continuing on the same thought process, it says, now Bhagavan says, okay, I told you the at highest level, at the 50,000 view. Now let me come down at the Devata level. You know, Aditya Nam Aham Vishnu. In the Adityas, which are, you know, there are 12 Adityas. Normally we talk about Devatas, 33 crore Devatas, but we'll talk about it later. It'll come later also. But there are 33 main Devatas, that we talked about. Adityas are the luminaries, Adityana Aham Vishnu. Sorry, Aditya is the Devata, sorry, not luminaries. That's get confused a little bit. So in the Aditya also means the son of Aditi. Uh, Aditi and Kashyap, they are the parents of these devatas. And there was one which is special, is the Vaman avatar. So, which is also Vishnu's avatar, but here it is said Vishnu. So in Adityas, I am the Vishnu. And Jyoti Sham Ravim Anshuman. That in the luminaries, Jyoti Sham means in the luminaries, I am the sun. The sun with the rays. That means it is the one which is illuminating everything. So that's, and Marichi Marutam Asmi. In the Marichis, which is the movements, or in the speed, in this the things that have movement. I am the Maruta is the wind, so I am the wind in that. And nakshatranam aham shashihi, that I am in the nakshatras. I am the moon. And in our the Indian astronomy, there are 27 nakshatras, so in days I am the moon. And so uh, let's understand that. So in the Aditya means the it's also the sun, but sun means the sun that lights up, but also Aditi's children, Aditya names. So uh, 12 of them were there. And so there was once Raja Bali was there. So he had, he was he's a devotee of Bhagwan, but also very, very powerful. So one time he basically took over all the devatas. He basically controlled the whole Swarga. And so that means all the devatas were under his control. So they requested Bhagwan. Actually, they came to their mother, Aditi, and said, Mother, help us. We want to be free from that. So she went to Bhagwan and said, why don't you help your these devatas, So he said, well, there is nothing wrong that Bali did. Bali, sorry, not Bali. What Bali did. So, there is no reason how can I, directly intervene in that. And they are getting what their karmas were, so. But she requested to say, okay, I'm going to come as your son. And that time I will see what I can do. And, the story. So he came as Vaman avatar, and then he was able to put Bali into Patal Lok. He made him basically in charge of Patal, but basically he gave him moksha, you know. So let's look at it that way. So Bali was, though Bali was told by his guru then not to, listen to this Vaman. He's not a small boy. He looked like a small boy, but he's not a small boy. He's Vishnu. So he is going to destroy you. He says, okay, but I have already given my word. If he destroys me, it is better to get destroyed by the Lord himself. So that's, this, they celebrate Onam in Kerala. That is actually for this Raja Bali. They said he was the ruling there at that time. So there are different katha. So this katha chintanam is actually also is a very important part of understanding the vibhutis of Bhagwan. So so in the luminaries, in the things that illuminate everything, I am the sun. And uh, sun, that Anshuman is the rays. So the sun with rays, so this is um, that is one of my vibhutis, because he is asking about vibhutis. So who are you, and what all do you do? So he's giving all that details to Arjuna, that the sun gives us the energy, the warmth, the light, everything, So remember, when you see sun, remember Bhagwan, because Bhagwan is, you know, is powering that sun. So do your Surya Namaskar also. So light principle. That's in the 15th chapter we talk about Yada Dityagatan Tejaha Jagat Bhasayate Khilam Yachandramasi Yachagno Tat Tejo Vitti Mamakam, which means that I am that know me as the light in sun, moon, and fire. So all the lights that you see is me only, So that's Bhagwan's way of telling how he is everything, We know sun only as a light, right? So that light is actually Bhagwan, that brilliance, the warmth, everything. Because the physicist will tell, oh, it is only a chemical reaction or a nuclear fission happening, that's why this. But that's like मजाक खत्म कर देते हैं. But there is something, where did that chemical reaction happen? Why did that chemical reaction, why does these particular things react, so we cannot go much deeper than at a surface level, so remember that this is the power of Paramatma. This is one way to meditate on that, so Surya Darshan is Paramatma Darshan, that's why we have this Gayatri mantra also, that's dedicated to the sun. Marutaha, the 49 Marutas are there, So wind is one of them. So the power to blow everything away, that power is coming from Paramatma. So I am that power, Bhagavan is saying. So the chief among the Marichis, and Shashi is the moon. So in the 27 nakshatras, I am that the moon. These are the all the Adi Devik Shaktis that Bhagavan is talking about here, which have an impact on us, because we can see it, we can experience that, because again the scientists will say, oh, but moon is not even a planet, it is a satellite. So what, it is, the stars are so much bigger than that. But what is our experience of the moon, because moon has a direct impact on us, moon, if you, all the, what they call it, Jawar Bhata, the oceans and the sea, you can see the waves rising up as the moon is, the full moon is happening. Same thing, it has effect on our mind as well, you know. That is why even in the West, they would, all the mental condition, they will call it lunatic, So the lunar, the moon has an impact on us. So what is that power of that moon? That is Bhagwan. That's what Bhagwan is saying. Nakshatranam aham shashihi. That, that's the power of Bhagwan. And let's do one more. Vedanam Samavedosmi. In the Vedas, I am the Samaved. And why is it Samaved? Because that is the one that is sung, All other Vedas, so there are three ways a composition is done, whether it is in a prose form, a poetry form, or a song form, you know. So song is something that you remember and you enjoy, you know. Poetry you can enjoy for some time, but song is something that you can sing, you know. When we listen to our old film songs, we can just sing it. It gives so much joy just singing that. So in the joy that it brings is a little different. So all the Vedas have are Bhagwan's Vibhuti only. But he says, I'll tell you what is Pradhana, yeah, you know, the important ones. So I am telling you that in the Vedas, I am Samaveda because it's sung. It is like it glorifies Bhagwan. And Deva Namasmi Vasavaha. Vasavaha is Indra. So I am Indra in all the Devanams. On the all the Devatas, I am Indra. Indriyanam Manaschasmi. In the Indriyas means our all the senses. I am mind. You know, normally we say, oh, but that's not a sense. Then when we had studied in Tattva Bodh, but it is also a sense. It is a more subtle sense, you know. Like we have, you know, Chakshu, Shotram, you know, all the other senses are there. But this one is something that actually puts all of them together. It is the one because each of these senses has its own particular ability. You know, eyes can only see things, it cannot hear, you know. Same way the ears can hear, but they cannot see or they cannot experience smell. So, but mind is the one which actually um, puts it all together, you know. So they can say, okay, this thing has a smell, a taste, a touch, everything only the mind knows. So mind is the boss, you know. So even in Bhagavad Gita, we chant Manashashthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karishati. So all the world is known through our mind only, but through the senses. So sense is the one that combines together. So the glory is of the mind. So all the senses are Bhagwan's Vibhuti only, but mind is the special one. So the Bhagwan is talking about the special ones here, you know. So Bhuta Namasmi Chetana, very important. So anyway, let's understand this in little more detail. So we took up, you talked about the why Samaveda was the special one, you know. And then we talked about why Indra is special in the Devanam. Devanamas mean in Vasavaha. Because two things. One is Indra was given the leadership role. He was the king of the Devatas. And there is a story, you know, from Kenopanishad where the Yaksha appears as the light. And, you know, they are all, they were celebrating the victory and they were saying how great we are. Everybody was complimenting each other. Like, look at our greatness. We were able to defeat all the Danavas. But here, when they see the Yaksha send the Agni to find out what is that, you know. So when he asks, you know, who are you? He says, who are you? You know, the Yaksha asks. So the Agni says, I am Agni. I am Jata Vedaha. That means I am the most learned. So he says, okay, what can you do? He says, I can burn anything. So he gives a blade of grass. Okay, burn this. And Agni tries everything, you know, puts the full blast of fire, but not able to touch the blade of grass. So then, and it goes, the Agni goes back. Then Indra sends Vayu. Vayu also tries the same thing. He says, what can you do? He says, I can blow anything away. He says, okay, blow this blade of grass. And it huffs and puffs, but nothing happens. So finally, Indra goes, and Indra stays there very calmly. They request, who are you? I am nobody. I want to know about you. And that's when Yaksha disappears, and Parvati ji in Uma form, she comes and gives her the Brahma Gyan. So he is great because he got the Brahma Gyan from Parvati ji in another avatar of Indra, because Indra is a cyclic thing, right? With every a kalpa, a new Indra comes. So in one of this, he gets his Brahma Gyan from Brahmaji, So, and Indra is also the presiding deities of our hands, which means karma shakti. So that means the shakti is Bhagwan's Vibhuti as well, the karma shakti. So that's why we chant Swastina Indro Radha Shravaha. So may that Indra bless us because we are able to accomplish something. So Indra is the Vibhuti of Bhagwan. Though all the devatas are, but special. That's what Indriyana. And in Indriyanam, I am the mind, because each Indriya, we talked about that anyways. So Manashasht, so recognizing that Paramatma resides in that is a very important thing. The mind is basically a gift to us, the most beautiful gift to us, because mind alone is our tool that we use to recognize that. There is no other method of doing it. So what is that one beautiful verse that mind alone is the cause of bondage and mind alone is the cause of liberation. you know
Mana eva manushanam karanam
Varanam
bandha.
bandha mokshanam. So when it is outwardly, the kya hai, Vishaya Saktam, when it is attached to the Vishayas in the objects of the world, that is the cause of our bondage. And the one when it is goes into the uh, finding that truth or inward journey, that's when it realizes its own true nature. So and Bhutanam, I am the I am the Bhutanamasmi Chetana. This is very beautiful. That I am the Chetana in the all the beings. I am the life in that. I bring that life into, you know, what is the difference between a body, a dead body, and a live body? Dead body is also made up of these five elements. And the living body is also made up of the five elements. The difference is the chetana. That chetana which is actually making it alive. So he says, even whether it is trees or it is the animals, reptiles or fish or humans or all these things, they are that which makes it the conscious entity. That consciousness is me. I am that chetana. Without chetana, we are, what happens? We just discard. Sorry, you had a question. I think you raised your hand earlier also. Yeah.
Would you like to stop the recording and close the session first?
Yeah, we can. It's just give me one more minute and we'll wrap it up. So the point was that Chetana is Bhagavan. Chetana is the Vibhuti. Vibhuti means Bhagwan's only the expansion. Bhagwan is in many forms, and one of them is Chetana. Though Bhagwan is in all the five elements also, but Chetana makes that element become alive. That's the thing. So that is why we worship the life. So that is why we don't want to kill animals. We don't want to destroy life, So anyways, so let's conclude. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.